Voices against corruption. Let the people speak.
Hello and welcome to Primark's public feedback series on corruption, called Voices Against Corruption. And we ask, do you think the creation of special courts or tribunals will reduce the length of time for corruption trials in Nigeria?
Creating a special court will help deter and fasten the prosecution of all these corrupt cases, in the sense that in the normal court, we are experiencing some delays. Reasons being that judges have a lot of matters on their court list, some criminal, some civil. And by the time cross-examination, hearing, and all those things comes in civil matters, before you get to the criminal matters, even though criminal matters are heard before the civil matters, it makes it difficult for them to dispense with those cases.
The major problem lies with the fact that our criminal justice system is very, very slow. Unlike electoral law, you understand, that provides for time limit within which certain matters can be tried and judgment be delivered. I want to believe that we can also have such in our criminal justice system, you understand, especially in this fight against corruption.
Basically, for me, creating a special court for corrupt cases in Nigeria will not really create the needed need for it. Why? Because we have so many people corrupt in Nigeria. The system is messed up. Nobody is ready to do the right thing in Nigeria to correct these corrupt tendencies ravaging Nigeria, making things impossible to work out. People, when you commit an offense, all you need to do is talk to a judge, and then before you know it, your case will begin to meander. I don't know if you know what I mean. And then before you know it, you get tired. Why? Because someone who has interest in your case is up there monitoring how it's going. Sometimes the judge will even tell you that he's sick. He wants to go, he traveled, or his phone number cannot be reached. And then how do you curtail the judge who is giving those excuses, even when the special court is created?
Even if we have special courts to try such cases, that doesn't mean it would reduce the length, because it can always be contested in the higher court of the country. So I think if that court can stand alone and the judgment can actually take effect without any further redress to higher court, then I think that can suffice. But as long as there are higher courts, they can always impose their power on this special court.
Special courts are created and empowered, not just being created, they have to be empowered as well. And then the right persons also have to be put there. They need to truly and indeed speed up the process of corruption cases and the hearings of those matters. Now, although I feel that's not the only thing that will solve the issue of corruption, but it would be a good step to start with.
Creation of more courts will generally help reduce the length of time for any matter, because there will be less matters in a single or a particular court. So particularly the corruption matters, which seem to be on the rise generally. So if it happens that they create more courts for matters which has to do with criminal matters, it will generally reduce the length of time spent for in different courts, because the more courts you have, the less matters you have. So yes.
The government, they are aware that corruption is an endemic. In fact, it's more than a pandemic. They know what to do. Look at election petition tribunal. It's 180 days. Because that will determine their stay in office, they make sure it's done swiftly. If that same principle can be done for corruption cases, I believe within a short time, no need for it to travel before courts. They just passed the COVID-19 Act, signed it into law, they created a special court, and they have been harassing citizens, arresting them, locking them up. The same thing they could have done in the issue of corruption. That's why we are not making progress.
If special courts should be created, it will ease the time, spent in the normal courts in trying corruption cases and other issues, not just corruption, other cases. It will ease it. And not just easing it, it will also reduce costs, on the side of the litigants, So I believe it will help. It will take us to a long way.
Creation of special court will go a long way in reducing the amount of time that is being spent in prosecution of or trial of criminal matters.
When the corruption suspects are being tried and convicted quickly, it will go a long way to even deter others from engaging in corruption.
If there are some special courts that are created or established to undo solely criminal matters, then we'll be able to move ahead. They will be able to handle the criminal or the trial of anybody that has been accused of corruption within a year. They should be able to get judgment. But due to the workload in our courts now, we've been having situations wherein matters will be adjourned from today. It will be adjourned to maybe after 2, 3, 4 months, and it's becoming an issue. And it's even becoming a mode of relaxation for the corrupt officials, because you know that once they go to court, no problem, we can always buy time. And at the end of the day, even the loot would have been spent and everything. They won't be able to recover anything.
If more courts are created, it will reduce, it will wipe away maybe what you call maybe as monopoly of the courts. Because if there are more courts, you will have the opportunity to go to whatever court. And if the court did not do well for you, you have the right to appeal.
Primark's public feedback on corruption in Nigeria is produced with support from MacArthur Foundation.